Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome, my friends, gamers, city planners, and other enthusiasts to the BoydofZINJ channel, where we're building the city of our dreams, the map of the inner sphere, using Battletech lore as City Skylines II. We're using the regional map, the San Francisco map that came out on the release as a pre-order bonus. And we're forming it, terraforming it, whatever you want to call it, to become basically the inner sphere for the wBattletech people. And you'll notice I have two interesting save here, 7B, but we're going to start with 7. This is not, I was just testing this out. We are, just as a heads up, we are going to be building Tharkad, the capital of House Steiner, and it's going to be a hexagon city. And I was testing it out, trying out a few different things. I kind of like it, but I don't. So we're going to start from the very beginning. I learned some interesting things. With that being said, I also, oh look, we unlocked Big City. Before we do anything, let's look at the progression. Is there anything that we need instantly? I'm going to pick up the solar power plants. No matter what, I definitely want the solar power plants. Don't need anything here. We don't need a hospital yet. I'm going to pick the recycling center. We don't need a university yet. I'm sorry. We're going to be putting down the university, so we don't need these other two yet. I'm also going to pick the small emergency shelter. We don't need any of this yet. I'm going to pick up water and subway immediately. And tourist attractions. Not sure what that is. And we're also going to pick up... I'm going to hold off to this. We picked up this previously. So we have 10 points. We may pick up these eventually, but this is what we're picking up immediately. Oh, what's this? What's this? A car accident. Let's turn off the music. I dislike it where every time you enter it, you have to always turn off the music, but it is what it is, right? So, let's talk about organization. My last few episodes have been a little disjointed. And the reason why is because I do this on the fly. I don't create scripts or anything like this, but I need to create some semblance of organization. With that being said, I decided to do a real brief organization, and I hope you enjoy it. Here's what this episode is going to entail. This is obviously episode 7. We're going to do, here's the outline of what we're going to do in this episode. We're going to do the introduction, which we're doing right now, getting organized. Afterwards, we're going to do a quick tour of the city and make some offline, and show you offline changes that I made. I'm going to recap, do a city history and some of the people, show you a cinematic. Then, once the cinematic's over, we're going to go to the main city agenda for today, or the main agenda for the episode. We're going to build Tharkad, which is the capital district and planet for House Steiner, the Lyrian Commonwealth, and we're going to make it a hexagon city. It's going to be the northwest capital city, and it's going to be a hexagon city. Again, I did experiment a little bit in building hexagons. Now, why is it its own agenda? I'm going to be talking more about the hexagon city view for both how I view it and some other information I found out. So we'll talk about that once we get to there. Then once we do that, then I'm going to do some quote-unquote quick building, where I'm going to build it in real time, and then I'm going to use the power and magic of editing to fast forward it so it won't be as boring. So you can see like an hour or two in a span of like 5-7 minutes. Then once we finish building the Tharkad area, we're going to zone it off, which is not listed, but it's part of that. Do public transportation, and then we're going to do a final city tour. And then lastly, city thoughts. So this is the way how I'm going to be presenting my thoughts, and you will be, anytime I go to a new series, I'm going to show this off. If you dislike it or you have any suggestions on improvements, let me know in the comments below. Thank you. You'll also notice I'm using an arrow to move where we are. So with that being said, we're moving from introduction now to the quick city tour and offline changes. Let's move the arrow. There we go. Quick city tour and offline changes. What this is going to be a brief tour of the city and show you any changes I made while we were offline. Just to recap, and I know we're going to be doing this later on too, but this is the map of the inner sphere. This is what I plan on how the map should look like. And we started with House Marik and we're now doing House Steiner. So let's look at the city and take a quick tour. Alright, this is the current city where we're going to start taking off from. We'll start, remember we started off with Marik, the Rimroad commonality. Then we also did the Principality of Gibson. It was kind of all together. And then we went to Duchy of Tarmrind. And then finally we did a college, a high school, and a college in between the bus routes in the Marik commonality. And every zone we're trying to make it unique. Now down here to the south is a bunch of, we're thinking about making the Principality of Hondurian. We'll worry about that later. So we're doing a quick tour. Now we didn't really touch very much on Marik, so I didn't make any changes to Marik to speak of. The only changes I did do is I did include some North American high density areas. And let's include a few more. And most of the areas that we included, see, these are high density areas, are actually in over here. But notice how they haven't been filled out yet. Demand for high density is very, very low. And the reason why, there's a few reasons why. The main reason why is a high density, as the name implies, a lot of people live there. So if one high density building fills up rather fast. So the high density buildings are going to be very, very slow to come in. Now you'll notice that there's a small traffic jam here. Unfortunately, it's not that bad. So we'll worry about this later. But this is the Marik. Now you will notice I did add some additional parking spots. Ooh, let's add that. And look at the prices. Even with 50, it's still filled up. So these parking lots are very profitable. Very profitable. And just a reminder, why are they also very profitable? We have roadside parking fees as well. So they're encouraged to go to the parking lots. Let's take a quick tour of the city. Now this is where our rocks, actually our metals and coals being produced. This is coal. And then over here, I believe is rock. That's right. And then over here is actually more rock. This is rock. And this is our power plant. And let's look at the electricity. It's still available, 156 megawatts. So everything seems to be useful. And we're exporting, we have battery, and we're also exporting 77 megawatts. So this has been very profitable. This is our forestry, actually, where is it? Oh, this is the building. This is our forestry area. and knows how it's very profitable. It's already a level 5 building. Going down the main street in this area, Marik Main Avenue, no less. There's a bus station, parking lot. Let's increase the fees a little bit. We need the money. Maintenance depot. Knows how it's 10 out of 10, so we're going to increase the maintenance depot here. ComStar Medical, 6 out of 10. That's fine. That's close enough. Our first elementary school. Oh, this is police station. This is the parking. Where is the elementary school? Oh, the elementary school we had was over here. This is the first elementary school that we have a difference of names. We've been naming them after mercenary units. This is the first, since this was the first elementary school, we decided to name it after the main person, and that's the leader of the mercenary, the Wolf's Dragoons in this case, of the mercenary group. The Rim World commonality, if you look at it, feels a very industrial place with a bunch of grids and runabouts, which is something I really enjoy. The few residents that live here live in basically sprawling suburbs. Very beautiful city. Going down again through Marik. Goes to the Gitsin person. The Gitsin, the Principality of Gitsin. Sorry about that. Over here, there's a small outlet of ComStar buildings, and you notice that huge building. This is high density. Look at that. 216 households is the crowning jewel of this area. But notice how, again, 216 households is a lot. That's the reason why, some of these buildings aren't even filled out. That's the reason why, in fact, this place by itself deserves parking. So let's give it some parking. We're giving this area 3 different zones of parking. And in fact, I was thinking about it. I think this right here deserves a community store of some type. Then we go to the Principality of Gitsin. It's a mostly residential area. A booming area that feeds other areas. Then we'll go to, this is our original inlet of the city, and notice how busy this area is. Holy cow. I was noticing. So we're going to make an improvement here. This is a highway. We're going to increase this all the way to a double lane. We can't improve this because it's actually outside the zone, which is fine. The traffic's not backing up so much, so we won't worry about it here. Then we go to the Principality, or actually the Duchy of Tamarind, which has a really nice bridge. Of course, it's raining. And what makes the Duchy of Tamarind so unique is it's mostly a long snake-like area. And there's another high school, the wBattletech, which, if you follow my other series, is you start off in the Free Rogues League, which is appropriate to this Free Rogues League area. A bunch of small residential houses, The Duchy of Tamarind's kind of small in this area, but more importantly, it's a very agricultural place, which has very significant points. Grain is very important. Look at that. And then over here, I believe is vegetables. Vegetables. Even though it's smaller, look at all, it's already at 5 out of 5. Very, very useful. Then we go across, these are tiles that we don't have yet. We go to this highway, and we upgraded our highway interchange. At first we had several different types, but I had to make changes. And this is something we did offline. Notice how it makes it a little ugly, and it's not uniform, but there's a lot of traffic coming here. And I decided to take a third of its traffic and try to alleviate, actually slightly more than a third of the traffic, and take it on this route. So if you're coming over here and you want to get to the Coventry Protector Park, which is evidently very busy, if you're coming from over here, the Coventry province, you take the highway straight over there. If you're coming from over here, you have two options. You can take this highway, which branches off, goes over here, or you can go forward and go through the middle. If you're coming from the south, your only bet is to take this roundabout. Actually, if you're coming from the south, your only way to get there is through this over here. So most of this traffic means that it's actually, and this is why it's in the middle, is actually coming from the Coventry province. The Coventry province is mostly feeding the Coventry Protectorate Park. Even though it has a residential area, it's still being fed mostly from the Coventry province, which is fine. So this is what I did offline. I want to try and alleviate some of its troubles. I also built this vegetable farm. Vegetables were in demand. This grain farm. And this chicken farm over here. Why? Let's look at production real fast. You'll notice we're just barely, last time I looked, we were actually in a deficit for both the vegetables and the chicken. So we're just, especially with the vegetables, we're just eking out. Now, cotton isn't really in production right now, but look at everything else. We're actually kind of getting a little low on rocks, but vegetables and cotton are like borderline. We're going to probably need more vegetables than cotton. Chicken, we're doing fine finally. Grain, it's getting dangerously low. Metal ore is getting kind of dangerously low as well. Coal, surplus. Wood, a decent amount. And stone, a pretty good amount. Alright, so I first built the Coventry province. That's not what I wanted. And you'll notice the Coventry province is mostly residential. It sure has some industry, some commerce, and of course the school, but it's mostly residential. And over here, the Coventry Protectorate is all industrial, commercial, and office buildings, and plus the specialized industry, which is why it's basically going from here to here. The other thing to remember is the pollution. The pollution is going from sorry about that. So this is ground pollution, air pollution. So yes, there is a small problem here, but it's not very much industry. It shouldn't affect these people that much. But because we have most people upwind, they're not going. Most of the people are not going to get polluted. Now, yes, this area right here is going to be a small trouble and is going straightly here, but hopefully it won't be an issue. The other thing that's very unusual about the Coventry province is it has a very robust network for buses and other public transportation. The Coventry Province School, which has a really good parking lot area. We'll increase that. We need some money. The Melissa Steiner High School. High schools are named after leaders of the inner sphere that they represent. The high school for Marik was Janos Marik, which was the last leader. Now, Melissa Steiner was technically not the leader. She was the heir, but she was going to eventually become the leader, which is why they picked her. All right, and then we also have some outliers here. This is, what was it, metal ore, rock, and coal. Then we have this bridge over here. The arm that goes to this area over here, which is oil, crude oil, and goes to the Trillshire to Marpak, which is the very last thing we're going to look at. And this area right here is also a bunch of residential buildings, which is going to help feed the area that we have. So with that being said, let's give them some additional parking as well. And we'll give them one small parking here. Actually, up there. And again, there's some industry over here which may cause some pollution over here, but it should be minor at best. But look at that. We just hit a milestone. We're now a large city. Wow, how did that happen? We just did an overview of the city, which was kind of a recap. The one thing I want to point out, before we start going over the people, is we had two people in here previously. A ROM agent and our very first citizen, Archibald Trejo, which he enlisted as a council member, the senior council member for Marik. For whatever reason, he disappeared. Now, mysteriously, he disappeared right after a large tornado hit the city. He might have died in that tornado. But the storyline is he went to jail. And his daughter, Cindy Trejo, recently married, is keeping the name. He was considered a minor nobleman, which is why he became a council member. Sorry about that. Something's in my throat. One moment. Sorry about that. I had to get some water, went on mute so that way you wouldn't hear me gushing the water. So Cindy Trejo ratted him out. She is still a nobleman, comes from a noble family, and there was some debate whether or not she should go in office. I debated, if you notice, a month and a few days have passed since the last time we had a council meeting. As a result, the council members have voted Cindy Trejo to become the next council member. She's still young, but she's a council member. Likewise, Ryan Hooper. He's currently, at home, chilling out, taking a small break from work. He was hired because he was a famous football star, American football, and the high school that was just enacted, the Janos Marik High School, Go Eagles, had a football stadium, so they hired him to be the football coach and PE director for the high school. However, we have found out that he has a gambling problem, and he recently lost all his money on gambling. And you'll notice that his wealth is low. What will happen of him? Who's to tell? He's so poor he had to live in the cheapest place he could find, which was actually in ComStar area, which has a low tax bracket near his school, so he could walk to work because I believe he catches the bus to go to work because he's too poor to afford his own vehicle. Likewise, as a recap, and also we're talking about people, we started building House Steiner. We're about to build Tharkad, but we started off with Coventry. Then we also did the Coventry Protectorate and the Coventry Protector Park, which is mostly the residential area. And we also did the Trell Shire Tamar Pact area over here. This area is kind of, it's just a few businesses, so it doesn't have its own. Oh, look, a major traffic accident. I know we pointed this out earlier. And since Steiner was gracious enough to increase our funds periodically, we have decided to give them council seat members. However, in Steiner space, they're called aldermen. And likewise, ComStar has petitioned and also requested an additional council member, since now they're governing also Steiner space. So we'll first do ComStar. Pauline Farley, who's currently walking to what appears to be the famed runway park that we have in the middle that, there's no way to make our own park, so I made an ad hoc park. And look, all the people who are coming here to walk around in it and use it. And she's on the trail here. Pauline Farley is an adept member and going home. But you'll notice that she's WOB. That stands for Word of Blake. ComStar has several different factions with them. There's an average stock ComStar person who's considered the faction the Holy Order. Then there's the ComGuards. ComGuards are usually medical, police, law enforcement, and military. Since we don't have a military here, it's mostly law enforcement and medical, which also includes the fire department. ComStar also has the ComStar News Network, CNN, which handles those feeds that we get from time to time. And there's other factions within ComStar as well. We also picked up aldermen for Steiner. The senior alderman is Janet Easton. Janet Easton is poorly educated, wealthy, and lives at the Steiner condos. The Steiner condos, if you don't remember, is a signature building that gives well-being to the areas. It's a very luxurious place to live in. Just look at it. Would you like to live here at the Steiner combo? condos. I'm sorry, Steiner condos. A very luxurious place. Of course, she's a nobleman. So she's the senior alderman for Steiner. And she works for ComStar, ironically enough, the ComStar bus depot. But the Steiner bus depot. Look how it's 30 out of 35 buses. We're using most of the buses here. The next alderman is Yasmin Beaumont. Yasmin Beaumont is a famed worker who is works with her hands and grit, at the what is this place? It's the coal mines for Steiner. While not the most luxurious job, she understands the value of hard work and promises to bring, the Steiner fortunes to bear. The last alderman, which is a council member, is Larry Shepard, who has a pet as well. Precious. Larry Shepard also lives at the Steiner condo, is also wealthy, and works at the Fault Studios. The Fault Studios is in Marik's space. Interesting. And what type of building is it? It's an office zone. Ooh. Very interesting indeed. So with all this in mind, these are the new people that are representing now ComStar, Marik, and House Steiner interests. And remember, even though they have multiple representatives, like the multiple council members for Marik, they have to vote amongst each other, and the senior member gives their vote to the mayor. Likewise, Steiner has multiple members, aldermen in this case, and then the senior, whatever the vote outcome is, the senior alderman gives the vote result to the mayor. ComStar has multiple agents now, representatives, and same situation. Whatever ComStar, whatever the final vote is, the senior most member, which happens to be ComGuard right now, will give their answer to the mayor. So right now we have 3 votes. With that being said, we are going to be showing a cinematic. The cinematic is about a minute to a minute and a half. If you don't like it, please fast forward it. But trust me, again, this is BoydofZINJ. I'm doing this as a hobby. I am not expecting any compensation. I would appreciate if you hit the thumbs up if you like this video, if you click subscribe, and for the sake of engagement, I would really appreciate it if you give me a comment. If you see something I'm doing wrong, or you have a suggestion on something I could do better, I would love to hear it. I have friends on a Discord, and one of the reasons why I'm presenting this outline the way how I am is they said I started becoming a little unfocused. Now I want to focus in on what's happening. So once again, I'm going to play the cinematic. If you don't like it, just skip a minute and a half. Please listen to it. And for the sake of engagement, please hit subscribe, the like button, all the bell icons. More importantly, I would really appreciate if you give me a comment. And if you're shy and introvert like myself, I'm doing this because I need to start, talking more, making friends, even if it's on the internet. For the sake of engagement, leave me an emoji. Even if it's, a sad face or a happy face, I would love to hear. I would really appreciate any comments, letting me know what I could do better or anything else. Trust me, it would make the world of difference. I'll remember you forever, for almost, probably the rest of my life. Who knows? Regardless, enough of that sass. Let's play the cinematic. Again, thank you.
In 2108, humanity began colonizing the stars. Their reach would eventually span a vast region of space known as the Inner Sphere. During its golden age, under the governance of the Star League, the Inner Sphere experienced unprecedented peace, prosperity, and technological advancement. But with a great rise comes a great fall. Beset by greed and mistrust, humanity splintered. The Star League crumbled. Technological advancement slowed. The great houses, each vying for supremacy, turned on one another, engaging in a series of conflicts.
Thank you for watching that cinematic. The next thing in our agenda is the main city agenda, the Hexagon City of Tharkad, or portion of Tharkad. Tharkad is the main capital planet of the Lyran Commonwealth, House Steiner. I plan on making it a Hexagon City. There's this channel that recently did an in-depth review about Hexagon cities within America, and I found it very interesting. I'm going to use a variation of these hexagons to make the Tharkad district. I'm going to show you some excerpts for this channel. I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be a YouTube clip from the channel City Beautiful. I wish I produced it, but it's very informative and I hope you enjoy it. And there's a space in between it. I will show you the name of the channel and the video. I'll be back in a moment.
What if a city was designed around hexagon blocks? Imagine it, an entire landscape filled with hexagons as far as the eye can see. That's actually one of the beautiful things about hexagons. You can continuously tile them and they fit together perfectly. Hexagons have another useful advantage. They create all three-way intersections instead of the normal four-way intersections found in orthogonal grids. Three-way or T intersections have been shown to be far safer than four-way intersections, as they eliminate a particularly dangerous type of crash, where one car blows through a red light and hits a crossing car. Even better, but streets in a hexagon system meet at 120 degrees, increasing visibility. You might be saying that would be annoying if you're trying to go straight from one point to another. That's a lot of intersections and small zigs and zags to go where you need to go. But if you're trying to go on a diagonal, an orthogonal grid is pretty inefficient too, and hexagons actually win. Okay, I'm gonna spoil the video right now. Why don't we have hexagon blocks? The answer is more or less cul-de-sacs and loops. Perhaps the first person to sketch out a city based on hexagons was New York architect Charles Lamb. Here's his hypothetical city design. It's based on hexagons, though the blocks themselves are not hexagonal, negating some of the benefits I described earlier. It's basically a more rational and repeatable Washington, D.C. Lamb didn't succeed in making hexagons the new standard in the city design, but maybe the Austrian Rudolf Müller would have better luck. In 1908, he used an efficiency argument to promote the concept. Here's his diagram, where he's labeled where pipes and fire hydrants would go, like this diagram here. Hexagons gained some traction just at the right time, and if it had not been for Thomas Adams, we might have had hexagons all over the United States. So if there are any hexagon heads out there, Adams is who you should be blaming.
I wish I could take all the credit for that. Again, that comes from a YouTube channel I found while researching hexagons called City Beautifuls, as I showcased a few times. please give them a like and view their channel if you're interested. Again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building Tharkad, and I'm going to, well, with the magic and power of editing, I'm going to fast forward the edit so that way it won't be as boring and I can get more into it. The ideal situation is I'm going to be making a hexagon grid, and when I make the hexagon grid, it's not going to be a pure hexagon. I'm going to use some variations, like you saw those other pictures. You know, I've experimented a little bit, but this will be my first real attempt at a true iconic hexagon grid-like system, and it's going to be very hexagonic for Tharkad. Again, I'm going to fast forward it and speed up the time so that way it won't be as boring. Thank you very much. We have finished the majority of the building, and a Zoom building, if you will. I did rename the elementary school and upgraded it slightly to the Randy Lighthorse ELH. It was a very famous mercenary unit. They went back during the Star League era. However, they did not leave with the Star League when the Star League had the mass exodus for 80% of the Star League, which meant 20% stayed, one of which was the ELH, the Randy Lighthorse. They eventually became a mercenary unit. The university, I didn't rename the university. Let's fix that up. The primary military academy in the Lyran Commonwealth, and a very famous university or military school in the Inner Sphere, was called the Nego Ring. It was located on Tharkad. It was at the time, it was one of the most popular Lyran Commonwealth places to learn, both for battlemech combat as well as education. So it'd be fitting that the university, which is located in House Steiner, the Lyran Commonwealth portion of this map, is called the Nego Ring. Let's talk public transportation. What I really want to do is use trams. I haven't used trams yet, and I want to try out trams. Plus, I also want to try trains. So that's what we're going to be working on. Likewise, there's a signature building or two that we want to place over here. The Popular Mansion. Oh, interesting. Oh, this is a pop music mansion. And then the North American side is the rock musician mansion. Interesting. So we have Dairy House. So we have a lot of North American. Oh, actually, there's no North American or European version of Dairy House. Well, some of these buildings, they're both North American and European. Let's look at this. Muscle Car Garage. Via City. Oh, I could use that. So the pop musician mention, followed by Via City. I think I'm going to use for Tharkad. We'll use the muscle cars for someone else. Maybe Lyle. Yeah. I can see that. Now, what does that mean? I want to put it on this side. Let's look at the resources real fast. And we'll look at pollution wind. So we're basically saying we're not going to be mining this over here. That's fine. Resources. But there's this oil that's down here that we could possibly get. Now I'm thinking that the musicians should be over here, and wouldn't it be kind of nice if they're on a hill? So let's fix this up. I'm going to zoom and do this fast editing. I'm liking this view, but it's missing something. That, I imagine that portion of Tharkad is where the elites are going. As a result, I want to make a little like pool or ocean right in front of it. That way it would look more majestic as well. So this area, this hexagon, if you will, is where all the elites come. The pop, the pop musician is there, and there's a very powerful comm satellite that I'm going to be putting on there. So I think this is a fabulous place for people to come visit. This would be like the resort area. Tell me in the comments if you like what I did here. I'm just playing around with the coverage. Where did the time go? I'm going to do a mulligan. And 69, I believe 86, I think is the restaurant term, the public transportation and thought, and do the final thoughts and just edit. If you notice, and let's go back to the city real fast. I just want to let you know that I'm doing a mulligan on the public transportation and additional buildings. I looked at the time, I didn't realize how fast I was having so much fun. And then real life started happening and I lost track of time. But let's go back to the map. I think this is actually a pretty good picture of our city. So we have 89 tiles we could purchase, bottom left. We have 17 progression points that we can upgrade. Fine. We currently have 10.5 million. And we're doing a downtrend. Our production, we're all in the green. We're very low on vegetables and cotton. We have excess amounts of coal, stone, wooden chicken is actually now a decent amount. Grain's okay. What is this? Metal ore is a wee bit low. But again, vegetables and cotton. So the next thing we're going to need is some fertile land. So there's some fertile lands here and here. And this fertile land over here might be actually be exactly what we wanted. And if we need some more oil and stone, here it is over here. More oil. So I don't think that this is a problem. So final thoughts. Again, this is House Marik on the bottom. Our next expansion, I think, is going to be Liao, since this is real close to Marik. I want to make every district unique. So that way, when you go to a district, you can say, hey, yes, I know where I'm at just by what type of buildings and the layouts of the roads. You know, grids with roundabouts, not roundabouts, roundabouts. Obviously, this is a remote commonality. You know, long grids, rectangular grids, Principality of Gibson. One snake-like road that goes everywhere, the Duchy of Tamarind. Grids with a lot of pedestrian and also public transportation grids as well. Oh, that must be the Marik Commonwealth. Then we go up north, our hexagons. And let's talk about the hexagon city Tharkad. We haven't done anything other than we placed a few buildings in the middle. It's not zoned yet. And I'll see about zoning stuff in, but no, not yet. I did touch a few zones over here, but that should be sufficient. Oh, the zones is because of this house over here. They're in Pop Musical Mansion, ironically enough. Okay. So let's talk about why I decided to have Hexagon City. You know, I want to do something different. Again, you know, we go to a Hexagon City. We know this is the Tharkad district. We don't have the district made up yet. And why did I have a hexagon outside of a hexagon? Well, this hexagon is where all the elites go to. Even has fancy, the Holy Order HPG telecom tower over here. Very noisy. You know, and take a look at this. It has, the water hasn't filled in yet, but it should have water coming in over here, which will make this look like a very luxurious place. So while you're at these mansions, looking at the peasants and the rest of the inner sphere, you can enjoy your vista, locales, and also enjoy this waterfall that's over here. Ooh, let's change that. I didn't like that. Soften. Oh, real life. One moment. All right. So getting back to what we were looking at. So this hexagon over here is where the elites go. Well, I'll think about the layout. It won't be as populated, and they'll be looking out over the vistas, over the big terrain, looking down on the plebs. Over here is the university, the Nagorine University. Of course, the inside has all the items, utilities, for the most part, including the school, and a few parking. Then we come to Coventry. And Coventry is broken up into 3 different districts. Coventry Province, which is a bunch of grids followed by very elongated public transportations and the high schools to the north. Then we have Coventry Park, which is a gated community. And with also a heavy traffic ban. Now I have to add this road over here because what's started happening is look at all this traffic. So hopefully this will alleviate some of the traffic. This is a one-way road. Or actually a one-way highway. Yeah, it's a highway. 120 miles per hour, evidently. And then the Coventry Protectorate. The Protectorate has very little. Ooh, what happened there? Has lots of industry. This is where the majority of the workers go to work, and we had to really upgrade these intersections over here to alleviate the problem. As I stated before, over here it has no district, but it's just some chicken farms. Was it rock, metal ore, coal, and then you can go either way. This is a straight line over here to the Troshire Tamarind Pact. And this is a highway bridge. Or they could take this highway to this road, which is actually another highway. But this highway shares, from over here, people from the Coventry province could go over here. And over here is the oil facilities. And of course, a few other facilities as well. But primarily, this is all centered around the oils. And so far, this is the only place you can get oil. So this concludes this episode of City Skylines II, where we're building the Inner Sphere regional map. Where we're trying to get Battletech Inner Sphere 3025 map onto City Skylines using vanilla assets, no mods, no cheats, no exploits of any kind that we know of, and hopefully the game improves enough where we can use it. Some final thoughts. I did accidentally let it play a little bit, and I started getting trash alerts. Even though right now garbage does not seem to be an issue, all of a sudden it just became an issue. And you'll notice that there's some buildings over here that are yellow. Next episode, we're going to deal with the traffic. I'm sorry, the garbage. And this area, you'll notice that there's no way to get to this area. So one, we're going to worry about garbage over here. But more importantly, two, how are we going to get people over here? This is where public transportation is going to come in. And we're going to use trains and possibly a subway. And the trams are going to be inside. No buses. And probably no taxi cabs. I want to experiment in this using public transportation. I don't normally use it. So no buses and no taxi cab. Once we clear off this south, eventually we'll start working House Liao, the Compelling Confederation. And I'm thinking over here and starting off with a shipping lane. Maybe in an airport and trains. That's just my idea. I hope you enjoy it. You have a great day. And I'm sorry for that telephone that it happens. And yes, right now, our city, the biggest problem that we have is unreliable mail service. That's the other thing we're going to be building too. I forgot. Final thoughts. Next time, we're going to add mail service. I did add one mail service building over here. The Word of Blake Post Office. Other places will get post office, and also we're going to get a processing place. A post sorting facility. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to give me a comment. I appreciate any comments or suggestions I get. I'm learning the game as much as you. And I hope, if you see a flaw in my design, let me know. This hexagon, I have no idea if it's going to work. It's a very unusual design. And I'm trying to keep most of it mostly a hexagon. And yes, I am taking a few liberties here and there like that. I mean, technically, this is still a hexagon. It's not a perfect hexagon. It's a hexagon within a hexagon that has an extended border. And then there's an outside hexagon. And eventually, I'm thinking that I'll probably put the train over here. Maybe the garbage collecting over here. And subway and something else over here. again, thank you very much, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching my episodes and me muttering about. Again, this is BoydofZINJ. Thank you very much.
If that comment video, adios. Thank you for watching. And if you're hearing this, I really appreciate it. But if you have YouTube guys, please like, subscribe, click on the bell icon to notifications. It really does help content creators like myself. I need your help. If you have any suggestions about my content or my channel or about this video, I would love to hear it. Please leave a comment. Regardless, I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay safe, enjoy life, and until next time, adios, goodbye, hope your arms is better than mine.